Hey, hey, hey. We are live on the interwebs. Can't see what I'm doing. Hey, everybody. My name's Matt. I'm live from 11 Winery. Hey, Craig. Hey, Melissa. Candy. Ted. It's almost like you guys have been waiting for me. Sorry I'm late. Hope you guys are having a good day out there in COVID quarantine land.
Right on time. They all signed in at once.
It's almost like they were waiting for us.
For some reason.
Whew.
How are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm a little frantic. How are you? Gotta do my hair.
It's the same way. Today's like one of those days.
A frantic day?
Yeah. I don't know. I've been getting that energy a lot today.
Oh my gosh, meetings. I'm trying to figure out how to. I got here a little bit late, so I'm not quite set up. I know I'm not supposed to let people see the backstage, but we're all about the backstage. That's what this show is all about. It's backstage. You guys get to see what really goes on here at 11 Winery. Fan brewer, right on. Armetha. Yes, I know, John. Okay, well, John Benner says we've been waiting. So patiently waiting. What did I want to say? Okay, for those of you on the Facebooks, Natalya's on the audio. For those of you on the Instagrams, she's on the video. It's much easier to understand. For those, so audio, Facebooks, Instagrams.
There you go.
And yeah, so you had a big day yesterday. That's cool.
Yeah, tomorrow was awesome. Or yesterday was awesome.
Tomorrow, time traveler.
It's one of those days. Yeah, a lot of bottles. People are just coming in, stocking up. So, pretty awesome.
What's been going on today? Oh my God, it's so gorgeous out.
I know. It's like really hot in here.
Really?
And really hot outside. It's really nice. All I want to do is just go lay at the beach, but I can't. So I'll lay in my backyard.
Why can't you lay at the beach?
Well, you're not supposed to go to the beach.
What?
Technically.
Really? Because
you're not supposed to park.
Oh, you're not supposed to park.
Yeah, I mean, if you can walk to a beach, by all means, go for it.
Right. Yeah.
So
I get that.
I'll schlep to a beach, maybe.
Yeah. Borrow a bike. Borrow a go-kart. Don't you have a golf cart?
Oh, an 8-seater golf cart? Yes, my family does.
7 inches of snow on the ground in Denver? What the what?
I heard about that.
Candy, are you in Denver too? Oh my gosh.
What?
That is crazy balls. There was a giant snowstorm here right around my birthday a bunch of years ago. We had like 6 inches. Craziness. Colorado weather is bazonkers. What? No.
What? No.
Can't be. That can't be right. I'm pretty sure.
Please don't remind me.
Wow. Well, suck it, Denver. It's 70 degrees and sunny here. Sorry.
Looks like you should have been in Washington.
Boom. All right. Well, hey, at least you don't have to try and go anywhere.
There you go.
Winner, chicken dinner. Just like go out and have a snowball fight, giant community snowball fight, make snowman, and
make a big snowman. Yeah,
if anybody gets within 6 feet of you, just throw a snowball at them, make them go away.
The defense mechanisms.
Sir Pack Northwest asked, dumb question, what's a wine stopper for? Yes, well, it's for you to give to a friend who maybe can't drink a whole bottle of wine like you big alky. So, it's my buddy Chuck. It's okay, folks.
That was weird.
So, let's see. So, when they do come out, I've heard they're working on this vaccine, but when they do come out with a vaccine for coronavirus, I don't want to see any of you anti-vaxxers getting it. Don't be hypocrites.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Just kidding. That's exactly not what we want to have happen. It's funny, but it's not true. I did get out for a nice bike ride today, so that was good.
Where'd you bike?
Just like the first part of the Chili Hilly course, a little bit. Okay, just nice. Went out and put the hammer down for 45 minutes or so. Okay, well, everybody, welcome to the 11 Winery virtual happy hour. bringing together the Leva Nation for great wine fun online. Just because you're staying home, staying safe, having snowball fights does not mean you drunk snowball fights does not mean you have to stay sober, and we hope that you don't. So I hope you guys have had a good day. I'm Matt Albee, founder winemaker of 11 Winery. With me today,
I'm Natalya, happiness engineer.
Awesome. And today we are going to be tasting Angelica.
I'm looking forward to this all week.
Yes, you have a friend in high places who said, because we had scheduled the Cabernet for today, and your friend in high places said you should move Angelica to a day when Natalya's working because that's one of her favorites.
See, that's what I thought happened because I saw the original sketch and I was like, dang, there goes my favorite. So I lucked out, really.
They have friends.
Exactly.
All right, so let's get into some Angelica, which is our nice dessert. Check it, see. Ooh, I got the Angelica glass.
Yeah, pretty glass.
Yes. This is actually a sample glass. We were thinking about doing some special like dessert wine glasses in the tasting room at one point. We haven't ever implemented that. But wow, it's pretty. I think this is probably the first time it's ever had wine in it.
You're christening the glass then, so.
Yeah. I should probably turn on Do Not Disturb so that I'm not getting text messages. All right.
So, it smells like liquid gold, I think. Nectar of the gods.
Oh my God, it's so good.
This is a dessert wine.
I loves me some dessert wines. Why don't I drink this more?
It's made with, right? See, the first time I had it, I was like, why have I been so timid about trying a dessert wine? Because I feel like...
Oh my God. You poured yourself a pretty sizable portion there.
I know, I did it, and whoops. Oh well. Yes. So it's a dessert wine. But
it is.
It is port style.
Port style. Right.
So what makes it port style and not port?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that question. Because technically, to be port, it has to be grown in the Douro Valley of Portugal and cellared in the city of Oporto, from which port takes its name. And it used to be like back in the day when I first started the winery, we were allowed to call wines port on the label, but then there was a new trade agreement that came in with the European Union that protected their geographic specific names, names with specific geographic significance, and port was one of them. So you could, so the TTB stopped approving new labels with the word port on them, so we could no longer call it that. So it's port style, and so it doesn't even say, you couldn't get away with saying port style on the label. Like the word port is just verboten on the label. So that means that we stop the fermentation partway through. So the way you make port is you stop the fermentation partway through, so it's sweet because it's only partially fermented. And the way you stop the fermentation is by adding brandy. So you add brandy. And I'm quoting brandy because really it's high proof distilled wine. So wine that's distilled to 190 proof, which is much stronger than regular brandy. And then but it is wine. It's grape spirits. So the technical term is high proof grape spirits. So you add enough of that to get the total alcohol up over 18%, and that's enough to kill the yeast and stop the fermentation. So that's port style. It's made by fortification with high proof grape spirits. If you wanted to make brandy, you would take your high proof grape spirits and water it back to about 100 proof or so, and then age it in a barrel for a long time. I don't really know that much about brandy production, and then that gold color that brandy has actually comes from the oak of the barrel. Same thing with whiskey. It's kind of crazy that the color of the whiskey and colored spirits in general, like brown colored spirits, that color comes from the wood.
So tequila, like a gold.
Tequila, I don't know about tequila. I don't want to, because I'm not aware that tequila is aged in barrels, but maybe if somebody knows and can comment in the comments and let us know. But I don't know That might be a little different. Yeah, but if you're like, it happens really quickly. If you have oak, like I've had a barrel, like wine barrel, outside, standing on its end outside, and then had it get rained on, and it's watertight, so that water collects in the end, and then after not very long, like overnight, that water is like whiskey colored. It's crazy. You're like, yeah. So anyway, digression. So I think we've covered like how we make this wine. So the way we make this wine is, so we harvest grapes for Pinot. So what we haven't talked about is it's Pinot Gris, Pinot Grigio. And we'll get into why it's called Angelica. This session is going to run long. Pour yourself another glass, people, because I got a lot to say about this. We got a lot to say about this wine. The downside of having a small glass is you got to refill it more often, and it looks like you're drinking a lot. So we harvest Pinot Grigio grapes to make our Pinot Grigio table wine, and we take some of that juice. Usually, it's like the last part of the juice, like the part that's being squeezed the hardest in the press, tends to get the most color and stuff in it. We take that and we pump it into barrels, older barrels, neutral barrels, and depending on the year, either the fermentation will start spontaneously or we'll add a little bit of yeast to get it started, and then we'll carefully monitor the sugar as the yeast do their work and eat the sugar and make alcohol. And then when it gets close to the level of sweetness that we want to have in the final wine, and then we add the high proof grape spirits and stop the fermentation. It takes a little while for it to stop. I've got this whole spreadsheet that shows me how much I need to add based on what the starting sugar was and what we want the final alcohol to be and the final sugar to be. It's this whole little spreadsheet. But we have to monitor, like every few hours we have to check it because it starts to move really fast as the yeast get cranked up, and the sugar will drop really, really quickly.
So since you're fortifying with brandy, are you saying that this wine has a higher alcohol content than all of our other wines?
Yeah, actually, it's 18%.
Wow.
Plus. Yeah, has to be at least 18% for it to be stable. So the yeast can't live in it and can't like re-ferment it in the bottle. Google says gold tequila gets its color from caramel additives.
Thank you for letting us know.
So this is why, like, maybe I feel like I've seen high-end tequilas that are clear. So yeah, distilled liquor in general is clear. It's distilled. Hello, it's pure. All the crazy color stuff gets left behind when you distill it. And so if it has a color, it got added later somehow, either from aging in an oak barrel or having, worms soaked in it or whatever. Google. It's worm poop. We know it is.
Just be honest, we all know.
So we've talked about how we made this, and we haven't talked about why we made it.
Yes.
So the reason that we're making this is because we made Pinot Grigio. Pinot Grigio is also one of the varieties that I've worked with from the very first vintage, 11 Winery, and although we have switched vineyards. So, and one of the things that we'll do, like as fermentation is progressing, is taste the wines as they go. And so I was tasting the Pinot Grigio as it was progressing through fermentation, and it would get to this point kind of in the middle where it just tasted amazing. It just tasted so good. And I thought, wow, if I could stop that right there, that would make a great wine. So that was really the inspiration for it. And I don't know if I had ever, I think I might have tasted a white port style wine at another winery somewhere. So it wasn't a completely foreign concept. And actually, white port is a traditional style in Portugal. And most wine shops will have one, but it's generally in the same dark bottle that they have their red ports in. So you even if you would see it on the shelf and you might not realize that it was a white port hiding in there.
Oh,
Um,
I didn't know that.
yeah. So we're not. I mean, the fact that we use Pinot Grigio is unusual, if not unique. Um, but the idea of there being a white port is not. Yeah.
What I saw people doing in Portugal through the interwebs is that they've been making kind of like spritzers with 1 part white port, 2 parts tonic water, and some ice. So it's
Mm.
got the alcohol and the sweetness, but it's also like a fizzy, refreshing beverage. Um,
That sounds awesome.
yeah, I've tried it before with this, and I've used
Oh yeah.
a grapefruit flavored soda water. Just 'cause that's all I have on hand.
I can see some of that from here. I'm very tempted.
It's a lovely cocktail, and I was inspired
Keep talking.
through like I did my research, because when I tried this, I realized it was literally one of my favorite things in the entire world. I have never been more obsessed with a dessert wine in my entire life, and
I'm sure that's
just elevates it. I don't know.
I'm sure that's a no-no on in broadcast circles to leave the broadcast. But anyway, I'm back. So were you thinking like one of this
I've done
grapefruit?
it with one of those. Just
We also have raspberry, or we've got lemon. But since you say grapefruit's good,
I really hope this works out. Since you're
I'm gonna try some grapefruit. All right.
It's lovely. I like that.
Luckily, I have another glass prepared.
Oh, there you go.
Well, so it was like 2-to-1, you said?
Oh, Maria, it's basically 2 parts tonic water, 1 part white port. I think you can really do whatever ratio you want.
We're not using, instead of tonic water, we're using this stuff.
Grapefruit
Sparkling water.
Mm-hmm. Which I think works fine. It's kind of, if you don't like tonic water.
I've got about 2 ounces. Oh, I'm just going to empty the bottle in there. All right. I've got about 2 ounces of juice in there. I'm going to give that a little swirl.
Maria, I'll go ahead and post on the story after a little recipe so you can see if you guys want to try this at home.
Ooh, it smells amazing. Wow,
right?
That smells good.
It's like summer in a glass.
Wow.
Right?
That's pretty good. That's dangerously good.
I know.
I guess wow. Okay. Just gonna set that over here.
Might have to walk home.
My goodness. It tastes a little bit, so I'll be honest with you, it tastes a little bit like a Shirley Temple.
Okay.
Yeah. Just needs a little maraschino. We might even have some maraschino cherries in the back.
Oh, I love that. That's so funny. I grew up drinking Shirley Temples all the time, so maybe that's why I like it.
I know, right? That's dangerous.
I smell this wine and I always think to myself, I wish I had a perfume that smelled like this, because it smells so good all the time. Like, I can't just pour it on myself because that's a big waste of wine.
You mean this wine in particular?
This one.
Yeah.
I'm not just because you're my boss, but I'm so obsessed with the Angelica. I think it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Why is it called the Angelica?
Oh, that's another great question. So we used to call it, when we first came out with this wine, it was called Pinot Gris Port. And we were making it with Pinot Gris fruit that we were getting from Oregon. And then we had to get the label reapproved for some reason, I forget. And probably because we stopped getting that fruit from Oregon, and so we were getting fruit from Washington, so we couldn't use that label anymore. And the government wasn't approving labels with the word port on them, so we had to come up with something else. And there was a year, I think, where we just called it dessert wine or something like that. And then I was at a vineyard getting some fruit, and I met a winemaker, and we just were chatting about something. And he said, he had been working with TTB, which is the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau. That's the federal agency that regulates wine labels and all alcohol labels, to get the word Angelica approved for use on port-style wines. and it was an approved word by TTB, but it had been approved for a very specific usage, which was what they called mission wines. So wines, fortified wines made with mission grapes in California missions, and so it was very narrowly defined. And there's a grape variety, but the thing was there was no definition of mission grapes and what that was. Um, and so this small Washington winemaker, like held TTB's feet to the fire and said, "Look, we need something to replace port because you've said we can't use port on the labels anymore. Let us use Angelica." And they're like, "No, you can't use that because you're not using mission grapes." It's like, okay, well, define it for me. What's mission? And like, we don't know. Like, okay, well, if you don't know, then let us use it. And they said, okay. So this Washington winemaker got TTB to relax the rules and allow use of Angelica. So Angelica really is American port style wine, is what that distinction means.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were just gonna say because it tastes angelic, but that's just me.
No, it's much more than just that.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And it tastes angelic too. But you could use, but yeah.
Kill two birds with one stone.
So it is an actual. It's not just a made up name that we use. Like it's an official designation for fortified domestically produced wines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So this bottle here. This is a 2014. This is probably backwards. 2014 vintage.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good chunk of time.
Right. Yeah. It's aged.
Ago. So
Yeah.
why is it so old?
Either you like totally did your research, or you are just lucking out with the really good questions today. What's going on over there?
Someone's at the door. Just
no.
letting them know.
We're closed. Sorry. So anyway, I'll talk about it for a while. So what happened was there was a year where we did a late harvest Viognier, and that came about because the vineyard that we get a bunch of fruit from, Elephant Mountain Vineyard, they had some leftover Viognier at the end of the season, and the vineyard manager thought of us and thought of me and said, "Hey, do you want some of this late harvest Viognier? It's really great stuff." And I said, "Sure. We've never made a late harvest wine. That'll be fun." And so we made late harvest Viognier, and we made quite a bit of it, and it was delicious. And while that was selling, we just let this Angelica age in barrels for a bunch of years, and literally did nothing. Just let it sit there in the barrels and age, and just kind of ignored it for a bunch of years. And then to the point where I really wasn't sure what those barrels were going to taste like when we came back to them years later. And I was pretty nervous when I cracked that first one open. And so I was pretty happy when it tasted amazing. And so we eventually, like so many things, kind of happy accident, and turned out great. Like that barrel aging time was tremendous and really beneficial to the wine and made it really much better. So there's not a ton of it left. I mean, it's a bit unique. We didn't make more Pinot Grigio Angelica for a while. So this vintage got a bunch of barrel age. The next vintage will be the 2019, which won't get as much age. It'll still be lovely and fruity and delicious, but it won't be the same thing as this. I think we have about 50 or 60 cases of this left or so. So it'll last a little.
Angelica?
Yeah. So it'll last for a little while.
Approximately 52 cases checked. It's about 626 bottles.
Yeah. Make sure you guys let us know what you guys are drinking in the comments, and and why is it called 11 Winery? ADuff90 wants to know. So, well, that's a great question.
Yeah.
and you can always, if you need a refresher, you can always look on our website. But it's the small cog in the back cluster of the bicycle. I'm going to try and point. See, back cluster there. On a racing bike, the small cog has 11 teeth. So you call that one the 11. So when do you use the 11? Use the 11 when you're giving it everything you got. When you're going all out, man, that's when you use the 11. So that's why it's called 11, because we're going all out.
Giving it all in your winemaking.
Yeah.
And A-Duck 90, if you didn't know, Matt was a cyclist, a professional cyclist before he
I was a
started
bike
making
racer
wines.
for a lot of years, and I still pretend that I'm a bike racer. Actually, I did a bunch.
You're always a bike racer.
I'm really a bike racer in winemaker's clothing. Is really what it is. Yeah. It's just a really natural. It's similar sort of thing. Lots of long hard physical labor, long hours, and no pay. It's very similar.
But it's always worth it in the end, right?
Yeah. It's very deeply, deeply satisfying. Hey, last time we talked about food pairings to go with the 2014 Angelica.
Mm-hmm.
Did you bring anything to not nibble on?
No, so I'm trying not to go to the store, so I did not. But
you didn't have any moldy cheese left in the fridge? All right, well, I have. We were talking about blue cheese, that's why I said that.
Oh, right. I know. I think about it all the time.
All right, so I have almonds. I have raw almonds.
How does that pair?
It's awesome. I've eaten. This has been like. So this has been a dessert that I've enjoyed like many, many times. It's a little bit of Angelica. And some almonds. So you get the sweetness from the wine. I don't know what it is. It just goes really, really well.
I
probably shouldn't be eating on camera either, but.
You know what? You do you.
Yum.
I could have a big.
I didn't get a lot to eat today. I was kind of in meetings all day, and then, oof.
Well, this looks like a lunch of champions.
Mm.
But for my pairings, I typically go with a pretty intense stinky cheese, moldy cheese, like blue.
Yeah.
Gorgonzola sometimes works for me. Depends. I've also poured it over a vanilla bean ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. So you've just nailed the exact things that I suggest people pair with it. Creamy foods, creamy stuff, creme brulee, vanilla ice cream, or blue cheese stuff. Our happiness engineer, Kevin Schmidt, makes an awesome blue cheese and pear tart. It's to die for. It's not. Sometimes people try to pair the Angelica with berries, but it doesn't really go. Berries are kind of high acid, and the Angelica is it's pretty soft. So pears work great, but not berries. Yeah, not pie, not like fruit pie.
A pear gorgonzola
tart. Yeah.
Oh God, that sounds.
Yeah.
Oh my
gosh. I bet if you ask him nicely, he'll make one. Yeah. If you're out there, Kevin, we need one of those pear tarts.
Stat. I'm really glad you like that.
Yum. 2 parts grapefruit bubbly water and 1 part Angelica, and don't plan on driving anywhere for a while.
There's your summer spritz.
Yeah, totally rich, totally poached pear. Yeah. Dustin Trett says Shannon rules. Is that just? I mean, I agree, but I'm not. Yeah, it's just kind of out of left field.
Like a point.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Patience. What?
You never told me your joke.
Oh, it was the Vaxxer thing.
Oh, my phone cut out. Dang.
You heard it. You heard the one about the COVID vaccine.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the beginning of the joke, and I tuned in. And I was,
No, it was short. It was quick. Yeah. So let's see. You were asking. I forget what was your last question.
I'm talking about pairings.
Yeah, pairings. All right. What else we got? We've talked
Trying to stay.
about we've talked about how we make it, why we make it. When we make it is like every few years, really, not that often, not every year, because of batch sizes and yeah,
I
uh,
prefer it chilled, Maria.
definitely chilled.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely chilled for sure. And it'll live in the fridge for quite a while too. I mean,
I mean, depends on how. Like, if you really like it, you can go through that pretty quick. It's a smaller bottle, but you don't plan on driving because it is higher percent alcohol.
yeah. Gosh, I don't know why I don't have that like every night, honestly.
I went through a phase where I was drinking it like every night, and then I was realized like that's high alcohol, a decent amount of sugar. Probably shouldn't be doing that every night.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I
Yeah, it's
pulled
about
back.
it's a little bit it's like 10% sugar, so it is kind of sweet.
I mean, it's not overwhelmingly sweet, which I really enjoy because I used to kind of be hesitant about dessert wines before I really got into them because I was
Right. Yeah, that's something
nervous
that
by the
I
sweetness.
consciously try and do with our dessert wines is to not let them be like syrupy sweet and try and keep that sugar down under 10%. Um, so they're not like cloying. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really enjoyable. It's sweet up front, and then it doesn't like give that feeling in your mouth when you feel gross and having a lot of sugar. It
Yeah.
doesn't give you that, which is really nice. And it smells like honey to me. It tastes like honey, liquid gold. I just,
Yeah.
I'm a little biased.
Okay. Well, I'm almost done. I'm not quite done. Did you get your car fixed?
No. Well, it's still at the shop. I should just not have a car just because it breaks down all the time. It might be me, it might be the car, but
Oh man.
no, hate the player, hate the game, right?
Okay, well, I hope that gets worked out soon. And
Thanks.
tomorrow, tomorrow is National Malbec Day, and we'll be tasting Cabernet Sauvignon.
Just because what?
I only found out it was National Malbec Day like today, so I think we might have to bust out a little bit of Malbec too, just in case. So we're tasting Arts Vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon tomorrow. So hope to see you guys all there for that. Thank you all for joining us. It's been super fun tasting with you as always. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. If you're running low on Angelica or anything else, find us online. Find us at the tasting room. If you're enjoying hanging out with us on the virtual happy hour, be sure to tell your friends and share the love and get them to come and hang out with you and us all at the same time. And hang in there, people. We got this. We're getting there.
We're here. It's team effort here, guys.
And remember, if it doesn't, say it with me. If it doesn't matter if your glass is half empty or half full, there's room for more wine. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.
Cheers.